Shane, Shane, Shane. Shane, 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 Shane. A-L-A-N, Allen. A-L-A-N, Allen. Allen, 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 Allen.
And autists who voted for Trump, it's your boy Dank Brandon here. I want to take a moment to congratulate the DNC on losing another election to Donald Trump. You replaced me with a candidate who has the same likability as Greasy, hobo taint, expected to win, and they say I'm the retarded one. The Democrats said that I was too old, that I was too slow, that I was a joke. Well, here's a joke for you. What do Willie Brown and the 2024 presidential election have in common? Kamala Harris blew both of them. I shouldn't have said that. But seriously, I mean, first Hillary loses to Donald and now Kamala. This man has beaten more women than Doug Emhoff. Anyways, congrats on losing to Hitler again. I hope he locked you all up this time. Dank Brandon out.
Hey, episode 38 of the 38th Parallel. And I'm here with my good friend Alan to talk about what happened over this past few days where, like he said, President Joe Biden, literally Hitler is now our president. So will he be in a camp soon?
You know, what you should have done is you should have played Biden's day after speech where he was calling for unity and congratulated Trump. Not because he said anything particularly groundbreaking, but because he looked great. He sounded good. Yep. Isn't that weird? I'm just saying. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. You look good.
Yeah, and also, I'm sure you saw the picture of Jill Biden. She was wearing red and had a big smile on her face.
Mm-hmm.
I bet they voted for Donald Trump. It would not surprise me at all.
Well, it's a not so secret that there have been like a little bit of a civil war in the DNC. So the Clintons and the Obamas hate each other. And then, you know, when Hillary had her turn, the Obamas, you know, like it was her turn, they stepped aside, but they didn't really support her. It was more that they just turned the other way. But with her out, you know, they installed Biden because Biden's just Obama's puppet. And there's a lot of people that felt like, you know, Biden was willing to be a puppet because he just wanted to be president. Biden has wanted to be president his whole life, and now he can die, and they can put on his tombstone, you know, 46th president of the United States. That's all he cares about. But he absolutely was not happy with the way things went down. And the Obamas, on the one hand, were content to promote Kamala because they would just control her too. But there's a lot of people that think that they didn't actually want Kamala to become the first female president because they really want Michelle Obama to become the first female president. So you know, maybe the Obamas would have been happy with her winning just because they get to keep power, but they're not super sad that she lost because it's kind of like, you know, silver linings and all that. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely a trivial amount of people that think the Bidens were kind of like, well, you know, and the horse you rode in on. So, I don't know. Dark days ahead for all of our... Yeah. Who would say such a horrible thing?
Yeah, what is that? What does that say?
Real Donald Trump is a woman beater. Yeah. I can't believe somebody would tweet that. That's awful.
Yeah. You know, come on, man.
Yeah. Beating women's not funny. Yeah.
I know.
In fact, if anything, I was only sad that I tweeted that then because Kamala, I was waiting for Kamala to do her concession because that's actually Hillary from her concession. And I wanted to have Kamala from her concession so they would both look all sad and dejected. But then Kamala, because remember she was having her election night party at Howard University and it was you and I talked about this. You and I talked about this last week. And I had said, I think we're going to have the results that night, and it's going to be like 2016, where everyone knows that Trump has won, but they're going to refuse to call it, and the pundits are all going to be sitting there scratching their heads, wondering how they can spin it to say, you know, this is how Kamala can still win. But it's obvious that the race is over. They fucking did it, man.
Yep.
It was like midnight, and everybody knew Donald Trump had won the presidency. And what does the Harris campaign do? They send her fucking campaign manager out there to tell the crowd what was left of it, because most of the crowd went home because they can see the results. They know she lost. And her campaign manager goes out there to say, "Attention, everyone! Miss Harris will not be speaking tonight." And he walks off stage, and it's like, "Yep, it's Hillary all over again, dude." It's poetic. It's kind of weird how that happened, almost exactly the same way. They can't get over themselves, and so then Trump's like victory speech is later than it has to be, because I think that. You say whatever you want to say about the candidates and their campaigns and all that. There is a certain level of them trying to do things the traditional way. So the traditional way is you wait to get a call from your opponent who concedes. I call you up and say, "Hey, you ran a great race, congratulations." And then after that call, then you go up to give your speech, and then the loser goes up and gives their speech. But they never did. They didn't concede. She never gave her speech, and so then Donald finally goes up there at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's such BS, man. I can't. It would be different if it was tied with one state remaining, Michigan hasn't finished yet, but every other state is a blowout in left or right, and we don't know who's won. But that wasn't the case. Everybody knew Donald had won halfway through the night. Come on, man.
You missed it, man, but hey, it's still pretty good. Still a good tweet. So you were just mentioning how people were scrambling, what? How did this happen? How did Donald Trump win again? Well, let me show you one instance of that happening, and there's gonna be more from this show, The View, everybody's favorite show, The View.
And finally, we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some lessons.
That's what that was.
The lessons are not
Knock,
misogyny.
knock. Who's there? Oh my gosh, it's Whoopi.
What the fuck is she saying? Hey, Whoopi's talking. It's my turn to talk. But that what's
I'm speaking.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, this, and she's right. That one county down on the border was 97% Latino, goes for Trump, and why? Oh, it's because of misogyny and racism and all that stuff. I mean, keep on going with that. That's gonna work again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean of course they say these things. They don't. The rank and file around the country, like the people making the TikToks all crying their eyes out, they actually do think that, because they're totally brainwashed. They do actually think those retarded things, and there's no helping them. They should just be euthanized. They're like raccoons with rabies. They just got to go. There's no cure. But the elites know that's all BS. But that actually puts them in a much harder spot after the fact. Again, you and I talked about this. Mm-hmm. We had said last week that one of these two sides, the left or the right, is going to have a lot of explaining to do when they spent 6 months talking about how the other side was literally the worst thing ever. But when the worst thing ever wins, how are you going to explain yourself? So they called Trump Hitler, and he's using Hitler's language, and in the Nazis at Madison Square Garden, and they brought out all the hoaxes. The very fine people hoax, that's a hoax. Barack Obama's not stupid. He knows that's a hoax, but he said it anyway, which means he's evil. The Russian hoax stuff. So that has been long since disproven. So anyone who brought that up in the last few weeks, they know it's wrong. They're just evil. So all of those evil people now, dude, let me tell you, it's so great that Trump won the popular vote. Yeah, because you know, if he had lost the popular vote, they would say, well, Americans truly didn't want this, but it's just our antiquated racist system given to us by the founders who were all slave owners. Nope, a majority of Americans. So you're now telling me that in 2020, not 4 years ago, less people were sexist and racist than in 2024. Really? Really?
Anything's possible, Alan.
While you're trying to convince the rest of us that people are more racist and sexist in 2024 than they were in 2020, you should also explain to us how Democrats have gotten 65 million votes for 20 years, except for in 2020, when they got 81 million somehow.
I like David Gornosky here saying, "Excuse me, Kamala, America is speaking." Perfect.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Well, yeah. It as some racist degenerate said in their monologue earlier this week, the Harris campaign has officially said they're no longer giving comments to the press, which is another achievement for Donald Trump. He got a black woman to stop talking.
There you go. There you go. I mean, another person. I'm going to try and do my best with these segues. So some of them are going to hit and some of them aren't. This one's a hit because Keith Olbermann, he had a good time with this.
We were invaded, is what it boils down to, just because there was not blood on the street.
Right.
If the Russians had come in with Cossacks and put him in, I think we would have had a different kind of reaction to it. That's the reaction we need now. What I saw last night was a lot of people hooting and hollering correctly and getting fired up and going, we're going to resist this in every way possible. And other people going, you really think it's that serious? Yes, I do think it's that serious.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the point. Well, but it's the point of a war, other than to gain territory, is to put the guy you want in charge of somebody else's country.
Yeah.
And we're now only debating at this point, after the story in the New York Times yesterday, how much the Russians decided our election.
And
Russia has committed an act of war against this nation. We were attacked last night. Regardless of the outcome of the presidential election, as certainly as if Russia had bombed and not merely threatened with a terrorist attack.
So, yeah, he's still on the Russia attacked us. And regardless of the outcome, Russia attacked us. So Keith Olbermann, who I don't know if some of you are old enough to remember, but he used to be an ESPN sports anchor. Remember when he was the anchor of SportsCenter? One of the many, that classic television show. And now look at him. Russia. It's all Russia's fault, Alan.
I mean,
I'm having a good time. This is me sharing all this stuff with you and everyone else watching this. This is just me having a good time. I'm laughing my ass off. My balls are falling off because I'm laughing so hard. I don't care. And this is really shallow of me to even think about this. And look, if Donald Trump even does 10% of what he's promising, great, good job. More than a lot of other presidents can say. But just until he gets inaugurated, this whole reaction and all the people who hate Trump and all that, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. So keep going. All right, I'm sorry.
Who do you think is worse, Keith Olbermann or Jimmy Kimmel?
Oh my God. I mean, probably Jimmy Kimmel because he has a television show, and Keith Olbermann is just some guy on Twitter. Whatever. Does he even have I don't even know what he does anymore. Is he just a guy on Twitter now? What the fuck does he do?
Yeah, I guess he's pseudo retired. So because all he's good for is being a talking head who's a last second C-list guest for some other program because he is out of business. His programs have all been canceled. He's not on anymore.
Because he's too crazy for MSNBC. Look, we have some crazy people. Joy Reid, I mean, really? But you're fucking crazy, Keith. Get the fuck off of our network.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's the absolute worst, the S tier of the biggest pathetic shit libs, like Keith Olbermann, Stephen King.
Oh. Yeah,
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, Stephen King's really bad. Mark Hamill, old Luke Skywalker. Like I'm not even talking about just the pathetic cucks. I'm talking about like the worst of the worst. And I don't even mean like the biggest disinformation agents or anything like that. I mean the ones that are truly just so miserably pathetic that they're just beneath my contempt. They mean nothing. Those people. I mean, it's like at least Keith Olbermann responds with anger, whereas Jimmy Kimmel cries like a fucking bitch on national television all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I can forgive you crying because like your infant son has a heart defect, but I'm not going to forgive you crying because 72 hours ago you were making jokes about how Trump's a loser. And then 72 hours later, you're crying on national television saying things like, I'm still trying to figure out what happened. How could over half the country do this? And it's like, wow, yeah. I mean, I respond to every one of those people who will listen to me with, "You're right, dude. It's fucked up. You should get out of here." Like they're coming for you. I've heard that Project 2025, they're going to round you guys up. So if I were you, I'd leave. I'd get out. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've seen some I don't know, like images, whatever, where self-described trans people or whatever. It's like, hey, I have a gun, and I'm going to protect myself. It's like, oh wow, you're exercising your Second Amendment right. Good job, congratulations. Donald Trump's doing so much, and he's not even president yet. Good man. Holy shit. So actually another person that's of the similar ilk that I want to show you here, Alan, and I know you love this guy, and we've had him on the show before. But his name is Stephen A. Smith. So I want to know what you have to say about this after hearing him.
You've been asked, I hear, about running for political office in the future, and some people have said that they could see you running for president. Mm-hmm. Would you do that? You think you qualified to run for president? I mean, the bar is pretty low anyway.
I do not. Can you rephrase that?
I mean, I just think that the bar is really low because Trump really had no political experience and went from 0 to 100, right? He didn't start in the city council and stuff like that. So the bar is low. Anyone can run.
I have said this on many occasions. The answer would be hell no, because I like my life. I'm living a pretty good life. But I must confess, I wish I could debate some of these guys. I'd love to be on a debate stage going up against these guys with the presidency on the line.
We will arrange that.
I'm half joking, but I kind of mean it. I mean, I have no desire to be a congressional figure or a senator. But if you came to me and you told me I had a legitimate shot to win the presidency of the United States of America, I would definitely consider it. But here's the problem.
So you want to break through the line?
Yeah, that's right. Yes, absolutely. For that, yes, because others have, okay, including Democrats, by the way. Yeah. I mean, they broke the line. What's wrong with me doing it? But I would be independent because I don't like either side, and I'm not going to be bought and paid for. I'm going to do what I believe is in the best interest of the American people, whatever that may be, and I'm going to make my decisions and I'm going to stand on it.
And that's what most people say when they run, and then they get in there, and it's like, hey, you can't make that decision without us. And it's like, well, where did you come from?
But that's because they're at the mercy of the pocketbooks on either side, because they know that it takes money to campaign, run the commercials. Look at what Trump did in terms of the commercials that he was running against Kamala Harris. He spent millions upon millions of dollars, doing what he did. And you need the money in order to be known. But if I didn't need it, please, it was just us going on a debate stage and let's talk about the issues that affect America. Name the time and place.
So listen.
Actually, speaking of that, because he said there, well, Donald Trump spent millions and millions of dollars.
That's yes, exactly. They're always going to paint Trump as the greedy corporatist businessman who used money to influence politics and had rich greedy corporate donors. You know, Chick-fil-A and Walmart pays all of Donald's bills. So other than being outspent 3-1, because all the greedy corporatists actually donate to the Kamala Harris campaign, and it isn't even that. Like, you know, it's the little hat people and George Soros that are funding Kamala Harris. To $1 billion, a billion with a B, They had a $1 billion campaign to Trump's, like, what was it, like 380 million, so almost 3 to 1, almost 3 to 1. And not only did they lose, but I actually shared the breakdown on the show on Wednesday night, the breakdown of just the swing states. So in Pennsylvania, it was close. In Pennsylvania, they both spent a ton of money, and it was very close to about the same. In every other swing state, the Democratic Party outspent the Republican Party like 2 to 1 in every other swing state, if not more, 3 to 1, and lost every single one of them. So I would put it to you that not only are it's the Democrats with all the greedy shadow money funding their campaigns, and God knows who then they owe favors and political stuff to, but does that not prove that they're not the right people for the job, because the party that spent a third of the money did more with that money and accomplished more with it? So shouldn't that mean they should be the winners anyway? Just saying.
Well, another aspect that I was going to mention too is that I saw this on the Spectator Index, and they said Politico reports that despite raising over $1 billion, Kamala Harris's campaign ends $20 million in debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a pretty hardcore grift. Like somebody had just released on Twitter right as we were getting ready to start the show tonight that, I mean, you can get the FCC filings of money that was spent and who it was spent to and all that. So Kamala's FCC filings have been shared on social media, so you can see the tens of millions and millions of dollars that were spent to various different companies and LLCs and all that. And of course, a lot of them are marketing and strategy groups and all that crap. You know, she gave $1 million to Oprah. Yeah, she gave $1 million to Oprah. I wonder why that is. And if you're saying to me, and I just want to be, because I'm asking the question rhetorically, but if she paid Oprah $1 million so that Oprah would do like a public endorsement and all that, would that suggest that Oprah would not have endorsed her if it weren't for being paid $1 million? What does that say? If you don't pay me $1 million, then I won't endorse you. What does that say about Oprah, and what does that say about people actually wanting to endorse Kamala?
Oh yeah, and then we see the results, and she doesn't even get the popular vote. I mean, fucking Hillary Clinton got the popular vote over Donald Trump. That's how unpopular she is. She fucking didn't even win that. God damn.
So I haven't like talked, because I live in a red state, and the day after the election, I mean, like, people were so happy, like just in general, just the mood around town, people just were smiling and in good spirits, and everyone had a pep in their step. It was like, it was like freaking Christmas. Joy. Yeah, it was a lot of joy. Yeah, a lot of happy warriors were out here this past Wednesday, Thursday. So that I mean, legitimately, it felt like it was Christmas season. It's so surreal. But with that said, there's still some Harris Wall signs up in some yards here and there, which even with that, considering that we're in a deep red state, it's like, man, what a waste of your money to go out and get Harris Wall's campaign stuff to put up, knowing that your area is already going to be 70% Trump, no matter what you say or do. It's just, but anyway, that being neither here nor there, I have only actually had a real life conversation with one single person in my whole city that actually said that they voted for Kamala Harris and was mad Donald Trump won. Only one, because everybody else either wouldn't admit it or they're perfectly content that Trump won. And that one person, basically their explanation is that it's to them it's self-evident that Trump is the wrong choice, but if they were trying to sell someone on Kamala, they would say that Kamala, because their attitude, because I said to them, like, well, Kamala kind of was in a weird spot where on the one hand she's trying to run on Biden's administration because she's a member of it, right? But on the other hand, she's trying to brand herself as a new way forward. It's like, well, how are you a new way forward if you're a member of the current ruling administration? And their answer is that well, And I'm not necessarily saying all this is not true, by the way. A lot of their answer was that, well, the reason why everything was so bad was because of Trump. Like, because of Trump's previous 4 years, that's why everything was so bad. And, you know, Biden and Harris couldn't fix everything. So it's not Harris's fault to blame her for, like, inflation, for instance, because Donald Trump spent a bunch of money. And I said, okay, I'll give you, look, hey, you're right. The national debt exploded again under Trump in 4 years. So you're totally right about that. But let me ask you, like, it's kind of like a two-part question, and you tell me if this makes sense.
Okay.
Either one of these two things. Either A, Trump is legitimately the better option because Biden Harris have been an abject disaster for 4 years, or B, as you're putting it, Biden and Harris were powerless to save the country because of how bad it was when they took over. But doesn't that also suggest that they're not the right people for the job? So you're telling me that things are so bad that they couldn't fix it. But the last part of that is they couldn't fix it. Well, if they can't fix it, why would we reelect them? At a minimum, we need somebody else because you can't fix it. It's just unfortunately for you, the only other option is the people who you felt like broke it.
Yeah.
But you yourself admitted you can't fix it. So what? So the point being is I'm not selling. You're not trying to sell me on Trump, but you're not selling me on you either. Which I feel like really sums up the left wing and Kamala Harris in a nutshell. Is you're telling me to not vote for Trump, but you're not really selling me on you. So.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go on that and saying that, okay, so yeah, a lot of the Donald Trump's policies help with, well, not help, but, you know, like the national debt went up and all that stuff. Like you said, okay, I'll give you that one.
But yeah,
but
sure.
But then, and this is very shallow of me to think of this, but I'm sorry, but a new way forward, that is a fucking boring slogan. I'm sorry, that sucks. I mean, make America great again. I remember it. I'll remember it forever to the day I die. Make America great again. Yep, I got it. What was Hillary Clinton's? What was her slogan?
I thought it was just "I'm with her." I don't even remember her having a slogan other than that. But
there was that one, yeah. But there was also "Stronger Together."
Oh shit! But okay, but anyway, well, the thing is though, is that every single one of those, the change candidate always wins. Like this is rudimentary political marketing 101. The change candidate always wins. So when Barack Obama was coming after 8 years of George W., right? So obviously W's done. That means that there's going to be a wide open primary for the Republicans. They wind up with John fucking McCain because they're too goddamn stupid to nominate Ron Paul.
Who else ran that campaign again? Who else was there?
Ron Paul.
Yeah, that guy, right?
Yeah. And then, of course, 4 years later, because they didn't win, so it's a wide open primary again, they go with Mitt Romney over Ron Paul. But that being neither here nor there, I'm not talking about the Republicans. The point being is that the change candidate always wins. So after 8 years of Bush, what was Barack Obama? Hope and change. They actually put the word change in the slogan. They were so on the nose about it.
We still remember it. Change, change you can believe in. We still remember that slogan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
What was McCain's slogan?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's a wet heat in Vietnam. That's what it was. But the point being is that the change candidate always wins. So candidates are always trying to, if you have a record to run on, you're running on your record. And otherwise, if you're running against the person with the record or against an incumbent, you're the change candidate. So what's Barack Obama? Hope and change. Change you can believe in. He's the change candidate. So he's going to win. And I'm not talking about like the actual, I'm not ranking slogans. The words of the slogans are irrelevant. Every slogan is a change candidate. Every candidate wants to be the change candidate because the change candidate always wins. The point I'm making is how can Kamala be a change candidate when she's a member of the current ruling administration? You can't. It's the only chance in the world, since you cannot be the change candidate. Kamala cannot be the change candidate. Cannot be. Her only hope was to do one of two things. Either on day one say, I'm going to embrace Biden's record. I'm going to take credit for everything good that happened. And I'm going to get as many members of this administration to say that that the best thing we have is Kamala Harris. Or I'm going to throw every single one of those motherfuckers under the bus and say, I've been here fighting this whole time for you guys, and these just monsters won't listen to me. But that's okay, because I'll just openly admit it. We overthrew them in a palace coup, and now I'm in charge, baby. But one, that happened too late for her to do anything, and two, she didn't do anything. She has no policies. She has no credentials. She has no record to run on. She's never won anything. They never had a primary. Imagine if they had a primary and they had decided way earlier on Biden wasn't going to seek re-election, and so they actually had a primary, and Kamala was an actual candidate in the primary, and she had to compete with the other delegates for, say 3 months, and she actually won. Like, let's say she actually, which I don't think she would have, that's hence why they did what they did. But let's say she actually had a primary and she won the primary. She could point to that and say, look, I've fought the tough battles. I've been on the debate stage with these other candidates who want to take the country in a different direction. But stay the course with me, because I've got the right ideas and I have the right people, and I defeated these other people. So if I can defeat them, I can defeat Donald Trump. Whatever. Right. But they didn't do any of that. So she can't be the change candidate. Donald Trump. It's so funny that Donald Trump, who himself has also already been president before, is somehow the change candidate.
Yeah.
Because he's more change to the current administration than he would be his own administration 4 years prior. Kamala was not the change candidate. He was the change candidate. If anything, Trump should have just epic trolled everybody by just making the Hope and Change poster, but with him on it, and literally writing Hope. I mean, it's literally the exact same poster, but it's his face instead of Barack Obama. And he would still win. He would have still won the election, which is important to point out, by the way, since we're talking about all this. The election was not close. The election was not close, and they could have called it super early. It was a blowout by modern political standards. He won the popular vote as a Republican, and let's not pretend that doesn't matter. It totally matters. And what did he end up with? 312 electoral college votes? This was not that close of an election.
Yeah.
So, as just a quick random aside, remember in these last week or two how they were talking about all these gold standard pollsters who they get that title because they have these perfect methodologies that are completely above board and they're not biased at all, and they really have their finger on the pulse of their states and regions and communities, and all these gold standard pollsters were saying Kamala has it in the bag. What happened to all those people?
Well, I did want to get to something like that, but first, it's our libertarian segment of the show, Alan's favorite segment.
Jesus.
Here we go. I bet you can't wait for this. You know there are other people who ran for president? Do you know that?
Yeah, I saw other results came in 5th.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, so think of that, and also think of this, how delusional they can be when you watch this video, okay? So I want you to watch this. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
Oh, no, just stop it. I don't know. I can't stand to see or hear him. He's a fucking cop. He doesn't get to have a voice. End of discussion. And by the way, what the hell happens in 3,000 days?
I don't know. Okay, we take control of the White House. In what world are you even talking about? What the fuck are you...
Yeah, but what happens? That's just under. So that's 8.2 years. What?
On January. Okay, so when I did this, I think it was yesterday. 3,000 days from now is January 24th.
Yeah, of what year?
2033. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
These people can't even.
It's his count. It's not like this some fucking AI asshole. This is literally him.
Yeah. and it's still there. He hasn't deleted it yet.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what's in 3,000 days, Mike? What's in 3,000 days? Did you know, if you want to hear something really funny, back before the LP convention, when he was still running to be the actual nominee, because it was him and Chase and Josh and Rechtenwald and all those other dumb faggots, right. His campaign reached out to me on 3 occasions to try to get him to come on It's Too Late.
Whoa.
And I politely declined.
How nice.
The first 2 times I ignored them, and then the third time they emailed me as if I hadn't already received their other 2 emails. I just emailed them back and said, we don't have political candidates on the show, and it's not just him; it's anyone. I don't have political candidates on the show, so that's
now,
just.
if he was in office or something, would you have him on?
Oh God, no! I don't have politicians on the show either.
Okay.
I mean, Ron Paul's been on the show, but he was not. That was after he retired from Congress, so he was not a politician when he came on the show. Right. So just before you try to play, I got you, because I've had people do that. I've had people say, "Well, you've had Ron Paul on the show. I guess it doesn't count for him." I was like, "Okay, well, he had been out of office for like 10 years when he came on It's Too Late. So just calm the fuck down." Plus, yeah, it doesn't account for him. Fuck you. I'm sorry if you can't tell the difference between Ron Paul and Mike Termat, whatever the fuck his name is. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll change it. We don't have cops on the show. Is that better?
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Jesus.
All right, so part 2 of the libertarian segment of the show. Everyone's favorite leather-wearing fucker, Nick Gillespie, he tweeted, because
oh, Jesus.
Now, the outgoing regime lectured us about pronouns. The incoming one will lecture us about Captain Crunch. The important thing is that the lectures continue. Now, the reason why I say this is because the video that for those who are just listening, there's a video that he's shared, and it's of RFK Jr. basically talking about all the bad stuff that are in cereals and snacks and all this stuff. Legitimate concerns of American health, like legitimate. And this asshole said, well, they were lecturing us about pronouns, and these people are going to lecture us about Captain Crunch. Hey, they're going to keep lecturing us, but guess what? We should not listen to them. No, fuck off, man. I don't want Red 40, Yellow 5, whatever.
I'm not going to sit here and equate the people who promote mental illness and want men to fuck your daughter in her bathroom to the person who wants people to not get diabetes. I'm sorry, Nick. These are slightly different people. That's a little bit different lecturing, you fucking retard. Okay. Jesus, I hate all of them so much. Why are you doing this to me? All right.
Because I don't know. Like I said, I like chaos, and well,
right.
not around my life, whatever, but just seeing you suffer is kind of funny to me. Anyway, so you remember this other guy? This is also connected to RFK Jr. So Todd Agopian, remember that guy? He used to call himself.
I vaguely remember.
Yeah, he used to call himself the Libertarian in Chief. I mean, I call myself the Hepatarian. So what am I to say? Who am I to judge? But he said, and I believe this tweet is deleted because it's anyway. So let me know if you agree. So here's what RFK said. It's a screenshot. RFK Jr. said, now, I don't even know if this is actually him, because I think this may have been a parody account, so this might be why he deleted it, but still, it's kind of funny. I'm committed to removing harmful chemicals and additives from your food, everything from glyphosate and high fructose corn syrup to synthetic dyes and preservatives. We all deserve a food system that prioritizes health, not profit. Join the movement. Todd said, FYI, this is bigger government, not smaller. This is what the chair of the LNC pushed for. The chair of the LNC pushed for having no glyphosate and high fructose corn syrup, synthetic dyes and preservatives and other things in your food. which, I mean, I don't know if you'd want that either. I don't want you to have that every single day or feed that to your children or not. But apparently, if you want to get rid of those, that's bigger government.
If you've seen Todd, then you would know that, yes, actually, in fact, he has been having a lot of that. So.
Oh man, I do remember him running for chair, and I think his whole campaign lasted for like 2 seconds. So I don't even know.
These are incredibly unimpressive people, and of course, it's funny. It's funny that, like, you know, look, there's nothing redeemable about the LP or anyone in it, but there's a certain irony to before the Mises Caucus took over the LP. There was a bunch of people who were against them. So it was the people, the Mises Caucus people versus the left libertarians, and the left libertarians were saying, well, don't vote for the Mises Caucus takeover, because if you do, they'll just turn the party into like Republican light. And there's a certain irony that they did take over, and then they did start endorsing Republican candidates and stuff. So there was some truth to that.
Right.
On the other hand, if Trump does any one of a myriad of things that he made as campaign promises, including the ones that he explicitly made at the Libertarian Convention, such as freeing Ross Ulbricht. Right. Just take that one. If he frees Ross Ulbricht, he will have made good on a promise to the Libertarian political demographic in exchange for whatever support they gave him. I mean, I guess they must have voted for him because they didn't vote for Chase Oliver, if you saw his 0.4% of the vote. That is more political success than libertarians have enjoyed ever combined. I was going to say in any year or any election, it might be ever combined. It may be every year of the Libertarian Party combined up to 2024 did not accomplish as much like actual concrete physical results as simply supporting Trump and Trump doing 1 or 2 or 3 things that the Libertarian Party candidate would have done if they won the presidency. Like, let's be real for a second. Let's say Chase Oliver, they just have a duel and Chase Oliver wins, so he's the president. You would think Chase Oliver would free Ross, right? Like, and I'm not being facetious. He would free Ross, sure. Right. Okay, cool. All right, whatever. Chase Oliver would, like, you know, pick some random libertarian. I'm sure he'd pick more than one, but he'd pick a libertarian to be in his cabinet. All right, you know, cool, whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, he's the kind of person that would find someone like, you know, say a Thomas Massey, for instance. And by the way, this is not going to happen. Massey's not going to be AgSec. But, you know, he could be like, well, hey, Massey, you're always, you know, introducing these bills for, like, you know, local farms and deregulating the meat industry and your Prime Act and all that. Well, how about you just work in the ag department? You know, like Chase could do that. You know, that would make sense. Right. So if Trump does those things, so first of all, Chase can't do those things because Chase will never be the president of the United States. So or automatically it's a non-starter. But even in my hypothetical situation, if there's even a number of things you can count on one hand that Trump will do that a libertarian candidate would have done if they were going to get 300 electoral votes, then this is so far and away the most successful libertarian political season that you can't even quantify it. Nothing will even come close. Not to mention that they set themselves up for the future, that all the doomers, and I'm going to say this because I've said this on the show Wednesday, so I'm just going to repeat it. There's a lot of doomers out there. I know you know that. There's a lot of doomers out there that they just assume the worst. It's like, well, Trump, look at all these reasons to hate Donald Trump. And so for all of these reasons, you're stupid if you supported him. And he's not going to free Ross. That he's just going to break that promise. It's like, okay, so first of all, I actually think he will. I don't think he will break that promise. I mean, just as recently as this week, the week of the election, he repeated it. So I think he is going to do it, number one. And number two, it's politically expedient for him to keep his promise, because if he could get an extra 1 million votes from libertarians by offering to pardon Ross Ulbricht, then it would make sense for him to actually follow up on his word. So then in 2028, when the next Republican runs, say J.D. Vance can also go to the Libertarians and also say, I hear you guys really want this, and I'll offer you this in exchange. And then you give him another 1 million votes, and he does that thing. That's just more progress than you would ever get doing it any other way, because you won't win any other way. So it makes logical sense for Trump to be a man of his word in promises specifically to that voting bloc, because if he doesn't, then they're going to be scattered to the winds and he won't get those votes, and it'll just screw Vance, right? Like if Trump reneges on his word, all that's going to do is screw J.D. Vance. It won't screw him, he's in office, but it'll screw J.D. Vance in 2028. I think he will keep his word. But beyond all of that, I have seen with my own eyes many so-called libertarians who have said, well, Ross is just one person. So I'm not going to support Donald Trump for all the reasons that Donald Trump sucks, because it's not worth Ross's life to support him. And my answer to that is that Ross will be freed. And when he is, all of you fuckers should take his place and rot in prison. Fuck you people.
So speaking of that, I'm sorry, we're going to continue on with our libertarian segment.
No! God damn it! All right.
Karen, speaking of Ross Ulbricht, this alludes to that. Karen Ann Harlos quoted something about RFK Jr. and someone had said, "Oh my God, y'all McCardle libertarians are in for a treat on that Ross Ulbricht pardon." And then Karen Ann Harlos quoted that guy and said, "I still think Ulbricht will be pardoned, and Biden might even do it," which very possible. Joe Biden might be like, "Hey, guess what? I'll do it." Now what are you going to do, Donald? What are you going to do about that? She continues, "But Kennedy is a film glam opportunist I'd lull to see pushed aside." Someone replies to her and says, "You mean Trump lied to libertarians to try to scrape every vote he could his way? What a shocker. Totally didn't see that coming." And then she quotes that and says, "He'll do some things. My prediction is honeymoon period until June, then bend over." And then someone replies, "If Ross gets pardoned, it will be the greatest accomplishment ever by the LP, as you were, again, alluding to." She responds to that. This is the main one. "We are not the Free Ross Party, and our bylaws say our purpose, not you. Run along now. I need caffeine before such stupid comments." Now, after hearing that, do you think she's being serious? Yes.
Do I think? Yeah, I do think she should be drug out in the street and shot. But yeah, I do think she's being serious.
We're not the Free Ross Party, Alan.
We're not
because the Republicans are doing it.
Her saying that the Libertarian Party, and I know that the Libertarian Party is capital L, but the Libertarian Party is not the Libertarian Party, little l, if they're not the Free Ross Party. If they're not the Free Ross Party, that's like the Libertarian Party saying we're not anti-war. If you're not anti-war, you're not a Libertarian Party. You might be the Libertarian Party, but you're not a Libertarian Party. If you're not the Free Ross Party, you're not a Libertarian Party. Fuck you.
Someone responds to her and says, "You can go fuck yourself with the bylaws for this statement." All right, continuing on our libertarian.
But she's also irrelevant now, right? Like she's out of the game, and she'll never be back in, and she's been run out of town. So who cares? Like there's no point in even talking about these people. All these people are gone. They're gone forever. They never had power, and they never will have power. And Angela, you know what's funny about Angela? I don't give a fuck about Angela McArdle. I'll just be honest with you. But if Angela McArdle resigned today and walked out of there, she will walk out of there having accomplished more as the head of the Libertarian Party than any. Then again, not only do I think she accomplished more than any other, she accomplished more than all of them combined. How many of her predecessors had dinner with a president of the United States and talked policy? How many do you think? It's zero. Let's be honest, it's zero. That's how many. Yeah. So it's just a total non-starter. The only question we have to ask ourselves is, did this happen because Angela and the LP took a step up in influence, or did this happen because of Donald Trump? If it only happened because Trump is Trump, then that's kind of sad for the LP because Trump isn't going to be there in 4 years. But also, if anything, that just makes Trump look even better, right? Because Trump was willing to do that, whereas no other candidate would. Now, if 4 years from now, J.D. Vance is willing to speak with them, and he sits down to have dinner with them and talk policy and talk strategy, then that's really something. But I also want it to be said, let's be honest with ourselves. All the people that hate Angela and hate the LP for supporting Trump, all of those people didn't even vote for Chase either. They voted for fucking Kamala Harris. They're leftists. That's who those people are. They're leftists who are mad because they wanted to take over the social club and they lost. That's all those people are. But Angela invited the left wing. She invited the left wing candidates. The only one who said yes was Donald Trump. So if you're mad about that, it's the Joe Rogan thing, right? Like, people are mad that Joe Rogan platformed Donald Trump, but he tried to platform Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris refused. Well, I'm sorry? I'm sorry your candidate doesn't care enough about you to be platformed? What do you want me to say?
I'm so glad that you mentioned Joe Rogan, because I have a Joe Rogan clip that I want to play.
Oh, great.
But this is also a sort of kind of continuing the libertarian segment, but not really. But because it was a Dave Smith episode, so that's the reason why it's continuing on. But anyway, this is classic.
But the fact that he did it, whatever. It's like, listen, man, there's going to be some people that tried to capitalize on that, and that was a big thing. Like, AOC really mobilized, which is funny because I'm almost certain that AOC's been to see Kill Tony.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, almost certain. Almost certain.
Wait, here at the mothership?
I don't think so here, but somewhere saw Kill Tony.
She probably loves it. They're all so funny.
I wonder who. Let's call him up.
All right, let's get to the bottom of it. Wait, we have access.
Call Tony Hinchcliffe. Hey, dude, you're live on the air right now with Dave Smith. I need to answer a question. I need a question answered. Did AOC ever come to see Kill Tony?
She says that she did, but we're almost positive that she didn't. I never met her in any of the shows in LA. I mean, she could have conceivably have bought a ticket to Madison Square Garden, but she never posted about it.
Well, she probably wouldn't post about it. It's too sketchy. Your show's sketchy. Yeah. But so how do you know that she says that she was there?
She tweeted that she's been to a taping. When all that stuff went down, she said that she's disappointed in me and she's been to a taping. I can't remember the exact tweet right now, but it was the day of the Madison Square Garden Trump thing. She posted, "I'm really disappointed in Tony Hinchcliffe. I'm a fan of Kill Tony and I've been to a taping." Something like that. I don't want to misquote her, like she would certainly do to me.
But she's been there and she was surprised? It makes no sense.
Yeah. No, nothing these people fucking say make any sense. They're out of their goddamn minds. And now their voices are quieted, thank God.
Tony, America's back, baby. America's back!
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. I gotta go, brother. I love you.
All right. I just wanted to play that because I thought that was great. And Tony Hinchcliffe can sigh because his Puerto Rican joke didn't do anything. In fact, it probably helped because apparently Puerto Ricans, they really voted for Trump. So,
yeah, that's just one of the many narratives coming out as people are digging into the exit polls and stuff is that so first of all, you know, white women are terrible and they have to have all of their rights revoked. That is true. However, white women did vote for Trump. So just putting that out there, just saying, even though they are awful and a whole bunch of them did vote for Kamala.
Yeah.
Most of them did vote for Trump. So just keep that in mind. Now, black women, just absolute, yeah, they're just irredeemable. Yeah. And Kamala's not even black. And Kamala's not even black, so that's like super sad for them that they're that easily exposed as retards.
Yeah, you would think that Cardi B performing at her rally would be like, "Oh my God, I gotta vote for her now."
Performing or just staring at a blank teleprompter for like 2 minutes?
She actually did perform, unlike Beyonce.
Yeah, but and yeah, the Latino vote going to Trump, like it's because we talked about this on Wednesday as well. So Latinos had 2 different candidates to choose from. There was one candidate that says build a wall, and the other candidates that call them no, listen children, you're not Latinos, you're Latinx. And they chose build the fucking wall over that bullshit. And furthermore, if you actually know any Mexicans, like, and I'm not talking about know of, like you actually like know Mexicans, like I where I live, there's a lot of Mexicans that are like, you know, working construction and stuff, because surprise, that's what they do. They come over the border, make a bunch of money, and then a lot of them just go back. They hate that shit, and they hate you. And a lot of them are like hardcore Catholics and uber conservative. Hello? So people who actually know any Mexicans in their whole fucking lives are not surprised by the outcome at all. And they thought the Puerto Rico trash thing was fucking hilarious. The biggest concentration of Puerto Ricans is Miami, and Miami-Dade went Trump. It's over. That's the end of the conversation. The Democratic Party is now the party of I'm not even going to say they're the real racist. No, they're just the real fucking retards. That's what they are.
Hell yeah. All right.
Hell yeah.
More Joe Rogan. Because this one's, you'll like this one. You'll really like this one, especially with our personalities.
True.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Well, why? I don't understand why left-leaning media, which is mostly Jewish, are calling people white supremacists, dude.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, I just don't understand.
Left-wing media is mostly Jewish?
I mean, according to my Jewish friends, it is, you know? But why do they hate white guys?
It's just woke things, man. It's just virtue woke bullshit. It's like the
I just don't understand it.
Hell yeah. Call it out, Theo Vaughn. Let's go. Now, to be fair, it's also right-wing Jewish outlets, Daily Wire.
Yeah, but that's just the thing, is that's where Rogan got it wrong. Because I already saw people commenting on this. Rogan got it wrong. It's not just woke bullshit. It's Jews. It is Theo was right. Rogan is wrong. Yeah. Theo was pointing out that it's actually Jews being subversive, not just woke people on the left. Yep,
it's
100%
getting there with Joe. It's fine. He doesn't have to get there immediately. He'll get there.
Yeah.
Like Theo Vaughn, I think when he talked to JD Vance and they were talking something, I can't remember exactly how it came up or whatever. But I'm pretty sure Theo Vaughn goes through some rabbit holes and he's like, "Holy fuck! Do you know? I just learned some shit about these Jews, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck. I wasn't smoking either. Like, I literally saw. I was like, oh shit, not good, not good, Joe."
I mean, it is true. They are not good. Well said.
Okay, so I have a couple of more things that I wanted to show you. So we're coming down to the end here. Definitely need some Fox and Sons coffee for this.
I'm getting this out of the way because we've already run out of time. So I'm just making sure we've already got that knocked out.
Now we don't have to watch the whole thing. It's over 3 minutes long, but we'll watch some of it, and you can just let me know when you want it to end. But this was the Bulwark with Bill Kristol.
Oh yeah, no, I'm done. I'm already finished. Thank you. We're done. We don't have to watch anymore. Nope.
Okay, here.
I'm good. Those are just all people that need to be summarily put to death. That's all that is.
The funny thing too was that as the day went, as you're watching this clip, it just gets worse and worse for them, and like Bill Kristol is just sitting there, and he's just like, well, I guess America wanted Donald Trump, I suppose. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, all these people and the woman on the left corner here, what's her name? Sarah Longwell. I mean, that's just her face the entire night.
Well, Bill Kristol shouldn't be on that stream or any stream. After what Scott Horton did to him, Bill Kristol should have disappeared into ether. He shouldn't even be a guest anywhere. He's been so thoroughly proven to not be a legitimate source of information on anything ever that he shouldn't even be on whatever the fuck that is. But again, they do it to themselves, because anyone who was paying any attention at all, who wasn't getting their information entirely from MSNBC, knew what was about to happen Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I would have bet my life that Donald Trump was going to win the presidency. I wouldn't bet $1 million that Trump was going to win the presidency.
Oh, man.
But I had a very, very high likelihood that Trump was going to win, especially since, I mean, everything Kamala had done over the last few weeks was just an abject disaster, and all the signs were there. All the signs were pointing to 2016, not 2020. On top of the fact that it looks like 2020 was a victory anyway, but that's another show for another time.
Yeah.
Trump was going to win that election. And again, especially relatively early in the night, you could see Georgia was going to go Trump anyway, but it was official. Like, we knew Georgia, North Carolina was a swing state, but it was going to go Trump. And then you had the Rust Belt. We knew going in that if Trump wins Pennsylvania, then he's won the presidency. If he loses Pennsylvania, then he'll at least need to win a couple of other swing states. But he was ahead in Pennsylvania, but also ahead in Michigan and Minnesota and Nevada and Arizona and North Carolina. And it's like, yeah, it's over. Like, I mean, by like 8 o'clock, it's like, yeah, it's over, guys. That's it. It's done. You know, we can crack the champagne or whatever if you're a Trump supporter. And so these people who planned these like marathon struggle sessions, because they all listen to the hype. They love the smell of their own farts, and they, honest to God, thought not only was Kamala going to win, but she was going to win resoundingly. You know, by the way, you know that there were some of those quote unquote gold standard pollsters that were basically predicting the election, but the other way. There was pollsters that were actually predicting that Kamala was going to get like 340 plus electoral votes. Like, there were people who thought that she was going to win every swing state, plus flip like a couple of red states blue in Tuesday nights. Like, they thought that she was going to win all the swing states, but also win Georgia and like also win Iowa. That was the one at the last minute everybody was saying, like, oh yeah, she's going to win Iowa and she's going to win Georgia to go along with the Carolinas and Arizona and Nevada and the entire Rust Belt. So Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Pennsylvania. And so actually Kamala was going to have like 340 votes. And it's like, what galaxy are you from? Right. So there were people literally within 24 hours of the election. And these are people who have audiences, millions of viewers more than you and me, that are experts, that were saying that she was going to win states by 10 plus points, that she lost by 20. You can't be mistaken that far. You're intentionally misleading. Yeah. But your stupid prediction is not going to change the outcome of the election. So it's like, why would you do that? Like, if you and me right now had 1 million viewers and we were going to predict that Donald Trump's going to go to Mars, but we know that's not going to happen, then when it doesn't happen, we just look stupid. So why would we say something that we know is not going to happen, that is verifiably false, that's going to make us look like idiots 2 weeks from now, or in their case, a day later? But they did. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they would. Because you know that we live in the internet age, right? So you know that there's going to be millions of fucking trolls on Twitter the next day plastering your fucking face and your stupid mouth saying those words. I'm surprised a lot of them haven't deleted that shit. You know, in a weird sort of way, I'm proud of them for not deleting the posts of their own posts where they said dumb shit. It's like, you know what? Wear it. Yeah. It's like your scarlet letter right there, you dumb bitch.
Well, you just walked right into my next one here.
I've activated your trap card. Jesus Christ.
Look at that. Michael Cohen. He getting trolled on TikTok.
No problem. Wow, genius you are. Can we stop with that? I appreciate it. I don't like the stupid turkeys. All right, let's just knock that stupid shit off, please. All right. I did. I said I was leaving, and then the following day, get that through your dumb heads. The following day, I turned around and I said that there's no chance in the world that I'm leaving my country. Thank you very much. All right. I'm not leaving anywhere. You leave. This is my country. And I have every right, every single right within which to turn around when we stop so we can. All right, 2 seconds. I'm going to end up blocking this idiot.
Yeah, welcome to the internet, boomer fucking retard. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, keep trolling.
All right. We were supposed to start early so that we could go to bed, and now we're later than our normal runtime. What happened?
I'm sorry. There was just so much stuff that I wanted to get on here that I just couldn't help myself because this was gold, and I don't know.
But there's going to be no end to it. I mean, because this is the thing too, right? Is that we've already seen a 4-year Trump presidency where it's not like the mainstream media is biased during the election. They're biased the whole time, 24/7, 365. So it was still like 95% negative Trump coverage and 80% positive left-wing coverage every day of his presidency. So it's not like it's going to stop now that the election's over. That's the thing, is that a lot of people are like, well, at least I'll be able to watch football this weekend without a bunch of political ads. Like, well, that might be true, but the rest of it's not going to stop. There's going to be insane leftists crying on TikTok every fucking day for the next 4 years. The corporate press is going to be putting out hit pieces every single day for the next 4 years. Keep in mind, Trump hasn't been president for 4 years, and they've been doing it then too. The news cycle has been dominated by Trump for 8 years now, even though he wasn't president for 4 of those. Think about that. So it's not going to change. He's still going to dominate the headlines, and it's going to be predominantly negative for another 4 years. If anything, so now you're going to be up to 12 straight years where the press just fell over themselves to talk about Trump. I'm assuming that it will continue for at least 5 years, because I think for at least the next year after Trump's term is over, they're still going to be talking about Trump. Like if J.D. Vance is the nominee in 2028, they're still going to be talking about Trump. It won't be about Vance at all. It'll be about, he was Trump's VP.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him or what he thinks. I just know that he was Trump's VP. So he's like fucking Herman Goering then, right?
Yeah. As of now, he's better than Mike Pence.
I mean, it's hard not to be better than Mike Pence.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Mr. Flyhead. Yeah.
Oh, that was a death nail right there. Right when that fly landed on his head, it's over.
Yeah, that was the end of him. Yeah. Jesus, Mike Pence. Good God. In a weird sort of way, if Trump had won in 2020, which he did, but if he had won in 2020, then we probably would Pence would have still been the VP, because he probably would have stayed on and Trump wouldn't have fired him, and he would have just stayed on. He didn't replace him. I mean, he went through the 2020 campaign with Pence, so he didn't replace him. He should have, but he didn't. He should have never picked him in the first place, but he did. So if Trump had been declared the victor in 2020, then he would be ending his second term now, and it would be the Wild West starting now with new candidates, and Pence would have been the VP for the last 4 years. So I mean, Vance just has to do better than that. And he will.
Yeah. We'll definitely hope and pray for that. Now, Mike Pompeo and Nikki Haley. They're really trying hard. Hey, remember we were cool? I know we were talking shit about you that one time, but hey, forget about that. Forget about all that stuff. Can we be a part of administration, sir? Trump better go, hey, how about you go in that rocket and just shoot yourself up into the sun? How about that? Go fuck yourself.
We're supposed to just forget that Pompeo didn't just say mean things about Trump or fail to appropriately support his president. He actively used the powers of the feds to go after Trump people, to keep them locked out of the administration, to fuck with their security clearances and things like that, and to promote neocons. He did that. And that is on record. That is not, that's not hearsay. So the idea that he could even be considered is beyond the pale. It would in fact be bad enough if all he did was say some mean things. That would be bad enough. He would not belong in the administration even then. But he didn't just talk. He actually acted in nefarious ways. So yeah, in fact, I'll take that back. Trump should promise Pompeo a spot in the administration, and then the day after the inauguration, have him brought up on charges by the DOJ. That'd be so fucking funny.
Or like when he's speaking up in that high rise, whatever, he comes up and he just like, oh shit, I tripped and I hit Pompeo. Oh fuck. Uh-oh. Whoops.
Yeah. And he can take Nikki Haley with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of nefarious, It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. Where can they go see that? And when?
Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Rumble, Twitter, X, Twitch, YouTube. Just go to @AlanMosleyTV. We're getting ready to head into our holiday episodes, which is always a festive time of the year. Got some really big guests coming up. This past week's show was pretty fucking killer. Had a ton of people watching, so a lot of people got to see a monologue that was jam packed with racist and sexist and homophobic jokes, all back to back to back. So that was pretty killer. Got some guests that everybody will know coming on in the next several weeks as we wrap up the year, and yeah, look forward to it. And but get your support in before that clock hits zero. It's really important.
Yeah. All right, well, it's been fun as always, and these past few days for me especially were a lot of fun, seeing all the reactions.
Hi Gary, hi Lyle.
And
sorry, there's people watching the show, but they're typing in my Discord as if that's the chat for the fucking show.
No, that's
Jesus. Yeah. You got to import my Discord into your fucking chat so that we can see these people.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
All right. See you, everybody. Bye.
And misogynists and chauvinists and sexists and misogynists and chauvinists and sexists.